Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about Jupiter transiting the 7th house in a natal chart. Now, on average, Jupiter will traverse a house for approximately 1 year. However, if your house size is a little bit bigger than average size, then Jupiter will be in there for a little bit longer period. If your house size is a little bit smaller than average size, then it will be in there for a little bit of a shorter duration. Well, anyway, people, first thing I'll look at when Jupiter transits one's natal 7th house, what stands out to me is that there can be, this could be very auspicious and favorable for relationships, for being triumphant over open adversaries, for in a court situation, for example, things of a legal nature. If there's been a legal issue that's been going on for a certain amount of time, maybe this is the time it finally gets reconciled or resolved. This also could be a more beneficial period for negotiation. If you're been in a situation with you and a significant other, and you've been at odds for some time, and if the situation has been somewhat contentious, this could be that time where a reconciliation may be in order and maybe these issues are resolved. It could indicate a period where you might eradicate a relationship, but at the same time it may open a door for a more auspicious one. So anyway, also people have to remember too that Jupiter is really very benign, and it could be very benevolent planet. However, Jupiter can be a little bit paradoxical. Jupiter can enlarge at times, and it can expand and enlarge relationships, but it doesn't always mean every single one is going to be good. It could emphasize where it might be a thing where you emphasize relationships more. And this could be a time too that keep in mind that when Jupiter transits your 7th house at some point in time, in the early part of that transit, it's going to be opposing your natal ascendant. When it makes that opposition aspect, well, at that time you can be going through a little bit of exasperation due to the fact that you have to be less egocentric during that time, or what I should say is you feel as if you might feel a need to be less egocentric at that time because others may dominate, whether it's significant others or people in general. However, Jupiter transiting the 7th house can also augment popularity during that period as well. So those are some things to look at during this transit. And the thing about it is this too is it's very possible you can learn more about yourself through a significant other during this period than usual. And it could also indicate that you might put a little bit more exuberance and enthusiasm into your relationships. This could be a time where if there's been a contract situation where it's been prolonged, or there's been some procrastination on it, and you're wondering if you were going to be able to finally close some kind of deal on something where you had on a contract. Well, this could be the time where it comes to fruition, and the contract issue is taken care of, and generally it's and on average, obviously, it's going to be favorable, since we are talking about Jupiter as far as this transit goes. And really, this could also be a period too. You got to remember that Jupiter is connected with long distance traveling. It could indicate that maybe you meet somebody, a potential or prospective significant other, through traveling, through long distance traveling. Maybe you even might become involved with somebody from another ethnicity or some other culture. It could also be a period where you look for Jupiter transiting the 7th house could make you you might feel, well, you might feel a little bit more charming, diplomatic, more about negotiation and reconciliation during this transit. And this is a time where you may Jupiter on the negative side, Jupiter can be sometimes be about being a little bit overconfident, overly expansive. So it's important not to remember to not take maybe things for granted in connection with a relationship with a significant other if you're in a partnership situation. And those are some things to look at as far as Jupiter transiting your seventh house goes. Now, it's also important to look at the aspects that are made from this transit to your natal planets and points, as this could impact the transit. Now, let's say, for example, that transiting Jupiter in your seventh house is making a square in conjunct or opposition to your natal Venus. Well, this may indicate that you might be a little bit more lackadaisical and lethargic during this period than usual. And the fact that Jupiter is transiting the seventh house, it could result perhaps in maybe some difficulties connected with open enemies or adversaries, and with matters connected with relationships and partnership situations as well. We'll take another example. Let's say that transiting Jupiter is making a sextile, transiting Jupiter in your natal seventh house. Let's say that's making a sextile or trine to your natal Mercury. Well, this could be auspicious perhaps for assimilating information that maybe you were previously unaware of or weren't cognizant of. And being in the seventh, this could be pertaining or might be somehow tied in to your relationships, to a partnership situation, and also in some cases maybe to legal matters. Well, anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for Jupiter transiting the seventh house in a natal chart. And stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about Jupiter transiting the eighth house in a natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis of a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone. Because astrologically speaking, the person is the sum of all their components in their natal chart and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.